You're not late. You're just trying to arrive before you're ready. And while you do that, success will continue to pass you by without recognizing you. Stay here. This will reorganize something that no one has ever explained to you. You were led to believe that arriving quickly was a virtue. Those who slow down lose ground. Time must be overcome. But that belief never created prosperity. She simply trained her body to live in a state of alert. Haste does not stem from ambition. It stems from the fear of not being enough in time. And the world senses this before any words are spoken, before taking any action, before any attempt. Nothing of profound value answers the inner urgency. Nothing lasting comes from a system that operates on insecurity. That's the law. Time does not surrender to anxiety. He only cooperates with those who do not try to dominate him. And this is where everything starts to change. Because when you try to arrive before you're ready, you abandon the only state that success recognizes: stability. Prosperity is not the answer to visible effort. It responds to the internal rhythm you maintain when no one is watching. And from here, you start to feel it reorganizing itself. You learned too early that you needed to hurry. That time was an invisible enemy. That if you didn't run, someone else would pass you by. That life demanded constant urgency. This belief wasn't born inside you. It was installed, repeated, normalized, and it never produced real prosperity. It only trained your nervous system to survive. Haste is not ambition. Haste is fear disguised as movement. It is the body trying to arrive before it feels. It is the mind trying to control the future because it does not trust the present, and the world feels it. It always has. Nothing of profound value responds to anxiety. Nothing lasting is built in a state of internal urgency. Nothing truly prosperous emerges from a body in constant alert. That is the law. Time does not accelerate for those who run. Time opens itself to those who endure. There is a subtle but absolute difference between moving forward and rushing, between presence and agitation, between expansion and escape. Most people are not moving. They are escaping silence, escaping waiting, escaping the discomfort of not being in control. But prosperity does not thrive in environments that try to control it. It enters only where there is enough internal space to receive it. Observe carefully, without judgment. When something truly important was about to happen in your life, did you have to run? Or did things begin to organize themselves? The strongest connections were not born from haste. The best decisions did not come from urgency. The most transformative opportunities did not appear in desperation. They appeared when you were available. Available is not active. Available is regulated. Calm is not the absence of desire. It is the absence of fear of time. Those who are calm do not feel late. They feel aligned. And the right pace is not the same for everyone. When you slow down internally, something profound happens. The body realizes it does not need to fight. The mind understands it does not need to predict everything. Emotions finally find space to organize themselves. And inside that space, something shifts. You stop trying to arrive, and you begin to allow. Allowing is not passivity. It is structural trust. Not trust in outcomes, but trust in your capacity to sustain whatever arrives. The world tests this. Always. Delays, pauses, silences. Intervals where nothing seems to happen. These moments are not punishment. They are filters. They reveal who collapses without movement, and who remains whole without stimulation. Prosperity chooses the second, because those who cannot handle the pause cannot sustain the gain. Those who become anxious in silence sabotage themselves during expansion. Those who disorganize while waiting get lost inside abundance. This is not punishment. It is coherence. Calm is the language of inevitability. When inner stability is achieved, time changes posture. It stops appearing as an adversary and begins acting as a silent ally. You realize you do not need to force events. They move naturally when the internal field is firm. Firm does not mean rigid. Firm means rooted. A regulated nervous system does not confuse speed with progress. It does not confuse intensity with value. It does not confuse noise with results. It chooses clearly, acts precisely, waits without suffering, and everything changes. You begin to notice doors opening effortlessly, people gravitating naturally, opportunities appearing when you are no longer asking, not because you deserve more, but because you stopped repelling. Anxiety repels, calm invites. This always works, because the world responds to internal state, not to declared intention. When you live as if everything is urgent, you teach the world you do not trust. When you live as if you are late, you communicate scarcity. When you react to everything, you lose authority. But when you move with time, when you respond instead of react, when you allow the process, something installs itself. A presence that needs no explanation. A posture that does not seek validation. An energy that does not justify itself. That is an aura. Not mysticism. Physiology. Your body begins emitting a different signal. Less alert. More coherent. Safer. Safety is not comfort. It is the ability to remain whole in every phase. Prosperity recognizes this immediately. It does not test calm people to see if they break. It approaches those who already prove they can sustain. Time is the greatest ally of those who do not try to control it. As you accept the natural rhythm of events, you stop wasting energy predicting. That energy returns as clarity, presence, firm decision. You say yes less often out of fear, less now out of anxiety, fewer maybe out of uncertainty, and more no with peace. More not yet without guilt. More this is not mine without conflict. This does not slow you down, it positions you. Inevitability arises when you do not abandon yourself mid-process. Most people quit internally long before they quit externally. They doubt. They compare. They create noise. You do not. You remain. Even when nothing happens. Even when silence stretches. Even when the world seems too busy to notice. You remain whole. And that creates something rare. An identity that does not fluctuate with environment. Self-worth that does not depend on immediate response. Confidence that does not need to be displayed. You do not need to rush to prove value. You do not need to compete for attention. You do not need to force relevance. What is inevitable does not run. It arrives. Time always reveals who is aligned and who is only in a hurry. And you begin to notice something subtle. The less you run, the more things move toward you, not by magic, by alignment. The world seeks stability, seeks coherence, seeks emotional consistency. It responds to what does not contradict itself. When you act calmly, decisions carry weight. When you speak without urgency, words carry authority. When you wait without fear, the world understands you are not available for just anything. This filters, this selects, this elevates. You no longer feel late. You feel on time. And the right time has no anxiety, only precision. From here, your relationship with prosperity changes. It stops being something you chase and becomes something you sustain. Sustaining is different from conquering. Conquering requires force. Sustaining requires structure. And structure is built calmly. Each time you choose not to react, this aura strengthens. Each time you allow the process, it expands. Each time you trust time, it stabilizes. It does not demand attention, but it commands respect. You do not explain your calm. It asserts itself. The world learns to wait for you, to listen to you, to respond to you, because you are not begging. You are only available for what is aligned with who you are. This is inevitability. No rush, no force, no tension. And now, something inside you adjusts again. The body recognizes it. The mind slows. The internal rhythm aligns. You are not running. You are not late. You are not fighting time. You are inside it. And everything that arrives at the right time arrives. Without drama, without wear, without noise. That is the law. This always works. You sustain. The world responds.